Hey y'all, how's it going? Man, England was pretty epic. Stonehenge was amazing. Went to London, went to York. So pretty much went to, the bottom two corners and then up north. It's really fun and definitely worth it. I had a little bit of jet lag, but I saw like 8 free movies on the plane. Well, free, quote unquote. So I mean, that was kind of worth it. The main souvenir, quote unquote, I got, besides a couple of Stonehenge rocks I picked up from the ground, was this book. Dean Radin, he's created the Institute of Noetic Sciences in Vegas, so really considering that university pretty soon, huh? But in America, it's the Conscious Universe. I got this, the English version. But it's the scientific evidence for psychic phenomena. So if anyone's like, there's no proof at all, just be like, no, read this book, then we can be on the same wavelength. But anyway, I saw these NASA quotes that I'm going to give to you on a link. I don't have time to talk about it, but it's like they're pretty much saying they exist. And I don't know why we shouldn't argue with the experts. Astronauts say they were never for a minute alone when they were in space, so creepy. Anyway, it's like with psychic shit, it's like taking a shit. It's like, oh, you can take a shit? Prove it. Do it right now. Just because they can't do it right now doesn't mean you can't do it. There's a real mood. It's a mood thing. It's a bodily thing. It's not just bam. If you can do it once, you can always do it. That's one of the idiotic claims of skeptics, And it's like they say, you don't believe in astrology because they don't think Saturn can affect you because it's so far away. Well, the sun's pretty far away too, but it's still the whole reason the Earth is spinning. It's like people don't realize that the Milky Way is even affecting them because, yeah, our Earth revolves around the sun, but our sun revolves around the Milky Way. So it's like huge things the implications are much broader than we think when we're just sitting in our rooms thinking about space, Speaking of which, Neptune is finally in Pisces, its ruler, and when I smoke weed, it's a lot more psychedelic. I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely feeling more psychedelic when I do the green. And Uranus is in Aries, so I'm going to be talking a lot more, y'all. And, this whole tsunami thing in Japan, the earthquakes, it's all because of that the Saturn opposing Uranus and Jupiter at the same time, with Pluto right up there. It's really negative alignments for anyone who's a cardinal sign. And I'm sorry, but you'll get through this. Okay. So the DMT world, McKenna's like, anyone can invest 15 minutes to something that'll completely alter their, mind and perception of things. But the thing about that, McKenna, is that you feel timelessness when you're in there, so it's not really 15 minutes. It's just like, whoa, it could feel like forever. So that's the one thing about huge psychedelics. Yeah, it takes literally 15 minutes, but it doesn't feel like it when you're in there. And they mentioned it on Ancient Aliens, but this guy, Ramanujan, I'll put a link to a bio. This dude channeled his mathematical theories from a goddess that he worships, in the Hinduistic way. And he says he channeled all that mathematical impossibilities. And that's why he just, he knew that stuff. He was only 30 when he died, but his chart is so crazy. All these trines, all this flowing, especially Uranus and Mercury sextiling. It's just a lot of implications implied that he was able to tap in, whatever that is. And also, if you spell Ramanujan, it spells out marijuana in the right order, except I is the only letter missing from it. So I think, it implies altered consciousness, whatever. And he was also born the exact year in which Nietzsche said that, the great anti-nihilist will come in the future. I'm not saying he's it, but 1887 was 100 years prior to my birth. I think that's pretty sick. But anyway, he was born in the 1880s when Uranus was in Libra, and Nietzsche, of course, wrote all his works in the 1880s, the great ones, and he was a Libra, so you're having a Uranus conjunct Sun transit. It's really good for writers, huh? It's also the Mayan New Year, by the way. Happy New Year. I've been reading a lot of Hamlet's Mill. Hamlet's Mill has completely changed my perspective on scriptures, on life, on the world. and how old we really are. It's pretty much like the book Fingerprints of the Gods before Fingerprints of the Gods. I'm sure Graham Hancock knew about this book. It actually mentions some of the same things about precession. This whole book is about how ancient cultures knew precession. And the whole irony of it is that the implications is that during the transition of world ages, precession caused a great flood to wipe out all knowledge. So ironically, the impact of precession was to lose knowledge of precession because of the flood and blah, blah, blah. I think that's really interesting. And, William Miller calculated the next Jesus, the next age, Friedrich Nietzsche, and the whole mill thing is very interesting. If you read Hamlet's Mill, it's about the mill that keeps churning through the ages, and every time it switches, there's like friction every time. Just William Miller, Hamlet's Mill. It's very interesting implications, I think. But anyway, that great number, 1366,560? It's divisible by 1 through 12 except 7. If you could find me any other number that's also divisible by 1 through 12 except 7, then you're smarter than the Mayans. But anyway, even if you do it by 7, the answer is 19522.222, whatever. 1952 is the exact year in which Paco Votan's tomb was open. And Jose Arguelles has this whole thing about how it pertains to 2012, the amount of time, etc. So, even if 7 is the only one that has a decimal, it's the one that implies the most anyway. 1952, that year, and the Gregorian calendar means something. Anyway, I'm a little excited because Mars is in Aries, and I was born with Mars Aries. Sun, Jupiter, Uranus, so that's every Aquarian's third house of communication. So I've just been thinking a lot lately, y'all. And, I hope y'all have a good day. Pick up this one. It'll be a skeptic's worst nightmare.